Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please, we can't see.
You can't see. Nana? Okay, so Nana, can you hear me? Nana, can you hear me? Okay, so let's go on without the board. Is Nana around? Please, others, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I'm trying to get to the board, but it seems I don't know whether Nana is around.
Please, I'm still here.
And I'm trying to work on that start a new whiteboard. I click on that. So what again should I do? Or I can do without that. Can I do without a board?
No, sir.
Then the specialists among you, IT, please help me too.
Hello, Doc. Please, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nana.
Yes. Doc, please, I was saying that if you go back to the previous screen where you clicked on the icon, in the middle of that screen there.
Start a new whiteboard. It's here.
Yes, please. Please, have you started the whiteboard?
No, I click it initially. I've started.
Yes.
So what again?
So then you click on the link it has generated.
I'm not seeing any link. I don't know.
Hello, Dr. Attakorah.
Hello.
I think I've figured it out. I don't know if it would work. Please, when you open the start a new whiteboard, when it opens the link at the top right, you should see the Google Meet sign there with an arrow showing up. So there's a share, and then there's just 3 buttons there, and then there's the Google Meet sign to the left. When you click on it, I think it shows presents this tab and then something else.
I've seen a Jamboard home. There's a Jamboard home.
Okay. Please, at the top right.
Is it?
Just to the left of the share button, there are 3 dots and then the Google Meet link, the Google Meet sign. When you click it, it shows bring the call here and just presents this tab.
Join a call
if
here.
You click on the just present this tab, it's
join a call here tab. Or present this tab to the call. So I should click on that.
Yes, please. That presents the tab.
you are already in this call. Bring the call here.
Yes,
Just so I should do it.
I think bring the call here.
Here.
Or I think it's just present this tab, and then it will show the tab, and then you click on allow.
Hello, doctor. Please, why did we leave Zoom to this place?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
I have been talking now, but
Yes.
can you see the board? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so let's
Yeah, we could, but then I think it's not showing now.
so can you see I'm drawing? Can you see?
No.
Okay. So Nana, I want to do with that level. Can you tell me where I got to the last time? So I'll see Nana in chambers for Nana to direct me. Where did I get to the last time? Where did I get to the last time? Hello? Oh, God. Where did I get to? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
The rest, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes. Yes,
Then where
please.
did I get to the last time? The last time. This is the first time I'm using the so please. Where did I get to the last time?
So please, I think I remember the last thing I wrote in my book was about ultrafiltration in terms of water, which should be 170 to 180 liters per day. And then how the ADH works on the volume that, and then finally results in about 1 to 2 liters of water a day. And then the maintenance fluid for a day being 3 liters.
When you tell me this becomes difficult.
Okay, so you also spoke about you're talking about ultrafiltration, and then you mentioned how NSAIDs cause renal damage. So you spoke about prostaglandins and their local prostaglandins in the kidney, and how NSAIDs impacts them and cause renal damage. And then you spoke about how ACEs can also cause renal damage. So basically, that was the end.
Tell me.
Please, you were talking about medications that cause renal impairment.
Yes.
I don't know whether I finished with the ultrafiltration. About the pressures that are involved in the ultrafiltration. Did I talk about that?
Yes, you did.
Tell me some of the pressures that are involved in ultrafiltration.
So you spoke about capillary pressure, Bowman space pressure, and then oncotic pressure.
Okay. So, oh God. I wish I get to the board. I'm trying to write, but you're telling me you can't see.
Sir, please, we can see the board.
I can see now.
But why can't you see what I'm writing? If you can see the board. So I'm drawing the Bowman curves. Can you see?
No, please.
Oh, please.
Is Nana around? Oh God. Okay, so let me touch on something new. Who is your rep apart from Nana?
Hillary.
Hillary.
Please, I'm here.
Hillary, call me. I'll be doing something new today. Still about the kidney, but call me. I want to get to. I quite remember when I was doing. The light went off here, so
Yes,
it was. I stopped suddenly. The a sudden stoppage of what I was doing. So the next thing I'll be doing. So to call me, I will discuss and know exactly where. I don't want to waste time.
Yes,
If
please.
possible, I will come back and touch on. If I've left something, I'll come back and touch on. So call me. But today, let's do. The next thing I said I'll be doing is the functions of the kidney.
Yes, please.
When I was giving the outline, I said what? When I was talking about the outline, I said what?
Please, you said the anatomy, the functions, and then causes of renal impairment, the types, that's acute and chronic, and then investigations.
So let's talk about the functions of the kidney. And please note this. When you are learning about any organ, the functions are very, very important. Don't underrate the set. Don't just chew it. You should know it and apply it. The functions are very important. So who can tell me? So let's talk. Some of the functions of the kidney. Tell me some of the functions of the kidney. Last year, they had functions of the liver. So tell me some of the functions of the kidney. What are some of the functions of the kidney? Class, what are some of the functions of the kidney? Hillary, Clinton.
Please, the kidneys filter out waste products. So drugs that we take in are metabolized by the kidneys, and then we are able to excrete them, and then other toxic substances in the body.
So if that excrete waste from the system, what again? What again? Hurry up. We have.
So the kidneys also help in the synthesis of vitamin D, which is needed for strong bones.
So it's involved in the synthesis of what? Vitamin D. It's involved in the synthesis of vitamin D. Good. What again? Because I have a question for you. For telling me all these things, you group the functions of the kidney into about three major areas. So tell me, it does excretion of waste from the food that we take, from the medication that we take. What's again? Synthesis of it involves in the synthesis of vitamin D. What's again?
It's responsible for the secretion of erythropoiesis, which is needed in blood cell production.
So secretion. So involved in secretion of what? EPO, for red blood cells production. Good. What again? So
regulation of blood pressure.
So BP regulation. Good. BP regulation. I'm going to ask you. So the effect. So you said excretion of what? Waste product. Talked about synthesis, involved in synthesis. Talked about EPO. You're talking about BP. So if the kidney is not working, what will be the effect? So let's finish with the functions. We have mentioned about 4. What's again? What's again? Can you hear me?
So The kidneys can also help in secretion of urea.
So that is part of what? The waste. Are you getting me?
Yes, please.
It's part of the waste that should be excreted from the system.
Maintaining electrolytes balance within the system.
So what's again? Electrolyte balance. Good. What's again?
It also aids in the metabolism of some medications.
Good. Metabolism of some medication. Example is what? What are some of the medications?
Insulin.
So insulin. What again? You are doing what? I'm happy. But I'm going to ask you practical questions. I'm happy that what again? What again about the functions of the kidney?
The kidney is responsible for balancing body fluids.
So regulates body fluids. Body fluids. So we add body fluids and electrolytes. What again?
Acid-base balance.
So it regulates the pH. Good. pH. What again? Have you seen that we have mentioned about 9 to 10 functions of the kidney? And this is telling you that please, you have to be careful in dealing with your kidney. You should be mindful about the kidney. Things that you are doing that will not help the kidney, please be careful. So we talked about waste, excretion of waste products. We talked about synthesis of vitamin D. You have talked about EPO, talked about BP regulation, fluid and electrolyte balance, talked about metabolism of some medications. You're talking about pH. What's again about the kidney? Hurry up, class. What again about? Are you done? Class, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
So tell me, are you done? If you are done, tell me you are done. We have more to talk about in terms of the functions. We have more.
Please, it has autocrine functions in the release of prostaglandins and nitric oxide and renal peptides.
So prostaglandin is involved in the synthesis of prostaglandins. And what again? There's one common function that you haven't touched on. There's one common function that you haven't touched on.
So it also has endocrine.
There's one function that you haven't touched on. So, which endocrine function are you talking about?
So please, in the release of renin, which stimulates the
Release of renin. Release of renin. Release of renin. So now my next question is that now we are talking about the effect. I will come back to the function. I want you to get the functions well. And don't behave as if you are achieving it. Apply it. When you have a renal case, the first thing you should think about is the functions. Because the kidney is involved in A, B, C, D. If the kidney is not working, then you should come in. You should provide exogenous help for the patient. So my first question is that what will be the effect if there's a waste buildup? What will be the effect? If there's a waste buildup, what is the effect? What will be the effect if you have waste buildup? Class, are you there? Class, can
Yes,
you hear me?
please.
What will be the effect?
Sir, please. So, when there's buildup of waste substances, these substances can have effects on the kidney parenchyma, that's the cells on the kidneys, which could lead to probably cell death, and then affect the
Who is
functions.
talking? Who is talking?
Please, Audrey.
Audrey, now the kidney is impaired, and because of that, we are having a waste buildup. What will be the effect? And you are saying that. Come again. Now, because of the kidney impairment, that is why we have what? A buildup of waste. What will be the effect of the waste?
Please, can we say that the waste products will end up being deposited in the wrong places?
Are you asking me or you're answering my question?
Okay, so sir, the waste products will be deposited in other organs where they are not supposed to be.
So at the end of the day, what will be the effect? You should be specific and tell me there's a waste accumulation and it's leading. I want you to know this. Don't just talk about the waste. There will be accumulation of waste. So if there's accumulation of waste, what will be the effect?
Okay, so if it goes into the brain, it will cause encephalopathy. If it goes into the stomach, it will cause gastritis.
So these are some of what the effect. So it's not advisable to build up waste in the system, and therefore we have to be careful about the kidney. So some of the waste could affect the brain. That could lead to encephalopathy. If you have buildup of urea, and that buildup of urea would cause changes within the brain, and it will cause uremic encephalopathy. Now, the second, we said that it aids in the synthesis of what? Vitamin D. What will be the effect? What will be the effect if there's lack of this vitamin D?
Sir, please, I think vitamin D helps in calcium absorption. So if there is defect in
Can you, when I'm lecturing or teaching, I don't want to hear in your answer you think.
Okay, sir.
That's clinical aspect. If you know, you know. If you don't know, when you say you think, to me, you want to try your luck or you want to get. You get me?
Yes, sir.
So take it again.
Okay, so vitamin D helps with calcium absorption. So if vitamin D is not being synthesized, then calcium will not be absorbed. And then for the bones, so it might lead to osteoporosis.
So there will be low calcium as a result of inability of the kidney to synthesize what? Vitamin D. Low calcium then will lead to osteomalacia. Osteomalacia. So osteodystrophy. Osteodystrophy. Okay, so what again if you have EPO, the third functional we touched on the synthesis of EPO? What will be the effect? What will be the effect? Erythropoietin. Class, can you hear me? What will be the effect? What will be the effect if the kidney is not able to produce erythropoietin? What will be the effect?
Anemia
Um,
cell production, red blood cell production. That will cause anemia.
Rebecca, I can't hear you.
The reduced erythropoietin will mean that there will be reduced red blood cell production. That will lead to anemia.
Good. So the EPO reduction will lead to reduction in the synthesis of red blood cells. And at the end of the day, it will lead to anemia. So have you seen how important our kidney is? Regulation of BP. Regulation of BP. Electrolytes and the fluid regulation. It regulates electrolyte and fluid.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Hello, Dr. Attakorah.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know. There was internet problem. So let's continue. What did I get to?
Yes, you were talking about the regulation of the BP.
So what will be the effect if we have imbalance in this? What will be the effect? Be specific. I want you to be specific. What will be the effect? Carry on.
Is the renin angiotensin aldosterone system will be affected, and therefore the BPs won't be regulated properly, so they could be
I am saying that if you have imbalance in electrolyte and fluid, what will be the effect? Imbalance in fluids, imbalance in electrolyte. We said that the kidney regulates this. Therefore, if there's imbalance, what will be the effect?
Okay,
So
please.
sodium as an electrolyte. When there is imbalance in sodium, where less of it is excreted, less than needed is excreted, it will result in retention of high amounts of fluid. In the long run, cause high blood pressure readings.
So you can cause high BP. What again if you have high sodium in the system? What could happen if you have high sodium in the system? Hypernatremia. What could happen?
Hello, Doc. I think you can get edema.
So it can get edema. What again? What again if you have high sodium in the system? High sodium in the system. What could happen? So it's important that you know if you have low sodium in the system, what could happen? Let him go straight to the area I want you to touch on. What will happen to the brain? We are afraid of the brain effect. That is why when a patient comes with either hypo or hypernatremia, quickly we want to manage. So if a patient comes with hypernatremia, what is the effect? What will be the effect to the brain?
Seizures.
What will be the effect? I want you to know the simple, at the end of the day, could result in seizures. But what will be the effect? So high sodium level, high sodium level in the blood could result in a brain effect. What is that effect?
Could cause cerebral edema.
Could cause peripheral edema.
Cerebral.
Cerebral edema. If you have hyponatremia, it will cause what?
Dehydration.
So go back and revise your notes. Why? Who said it?
So it's hyponatremia.
If it's hyponatremia, so if it's hyponatremia, then it will cause cerebral edema.
Yes, sir.
If it's hypernatremia, it will lead to what? Cerebral. To lead to cerebral dehydration. And and that can result in, because this is disturbing the brain, can result in we say seizures. So it's important that the kidney regulates this such that there won't be any effect in the brain. Please, do you get me?
Yes, please.
The whole class, please. Is it clear?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I've not used this before, this type before, first time. I know the old type, the old Zoom type, so I wish I could use the board to do one or two. Okay, the effect, pH regulation. What will be the effect if you don't regulate the pH? What could be the effect if you don't regulate the pH? It's Rebecca there. Rebecca Notti. What will be the effect if you don't regulate the pH? Oh, class. I don't want you to chew the functions and just be telling me that's A, B, C, D. I want you to tell me the effect.
They can either be metabolic acidosis or metabolic alkalosis.
So what will be the effect of this? Acidosis, what will be the effect? What will be the effect of alkalosis? What will be the effect of acidosis? What will be the effect of alkalosis? Renin. What will be the effect if there's reduction of renin or renin secretion is shut down? What will be the effect? Class, you can hear me? You can hear me?
Yes, please.
I'm not hearing you. Okay, so back to the functions. The functions of the kidney. Basically, I just want to summarize the whole thing for you, because you could be asked about, if I ask you, you have listed about 11 functions of the kidney. If I ask you to tell me 3 tubular functions of the kidney, what would be? Tubular functions. What are some of the tubular functions of the kidney? What are some of the autocrine functions of the kidney? And what are some of the endocrine functions of the kidney? So give me 3 tubular functions of the kidney.
Okay. Please, electrolyte and fluid balance for the tubular function.
So the functions of the kidney can be divided into 3. The functions of the kidney could be divided into 3. We have the tubular functions, we have the endocrine functions, and we have the autocrine. We have the autocrine function. So these are the 3 areas. So you could be asked, what are the autocrine functions of the kidney? What are the endocrine functions? And what are the tubular functions of the kidney? So let's talk about the tubular functions. Tubular functions of the kidney. So when we are talking about tubular functions, we are talking about what the nephron does. The nephrons, what it does. What happens along the line? What happens? So tubular function. So one of the tubular functions is that the excretion of waste products is done by the tubules. Excretion of what? Waste products. So waste are excreted via the nephrons, via the tubules. So excretion of waste, and the waste could be food, could be anything, could be medications. So waste buildup. These are excreted by the kidney via these tubes. Please, is it clear?
Yes, please.
The second function of the second function, tubular function of the kidney is that's reabsorption. The last time I said at the proximal convoluted tubule, that's reabsorption of glucose, reabsorption of potassium, sodium. The vital things that the system needs will be reabsorbed from the proximal convoluted. About 80% of the filtrate, the content in there will be reabsorbed back into the system. And this is done by what? By the nephron, by the tubules. So there's a reabsorption of glucose, about 80%, reabsorption of sodium, reabsorption of potassium and others, urea and others, be reabsorbed. So that is tubular function. Tubular function. Who can tell me one or two tubular functions of the kidney?
Please, electrolytes and fluid balance.
So electrolyte and fluid regulation is done by what? It's done by the tubules. It's done by the tubules. So regulation of what? Regulation of electrolytes and fluid. These are done by what? The tubules. Please hold on for me. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
So what's again? Please note this. Tubular functions. Hello, yes. Tubular function. So we have excretion of waste products. Fluid regulation is done by the tube. Electrolyte regulations are done by the tube. What again? What again? Is it clear to everybody? Because sometimes if you are asked about give 3 tubular functions of the kidney: absorption of electrolyte, absorption of glucose, absorption of amino acids, are done by the proximal convoluted to the distal convoluted tube. These are all functions of the tubules. What again about the functions of the tubules? Please hurry up. What again? What again? Can you hear me? Tubular function. Can you hear me, class?
Yes, please.
Hello.
Hello.
So tell me, any tubular function,
It regulates the pH of the body.
regulation of pH of the body. Explain to me. If I ask you, why are you saying it's a tubular function? Please note this and understand. Why is it a tubular function? What would you say? Why is it a tubular function? So last year there was a liver question about the functions, and they were asking simple. I was shocked why they were getting it wrong. They were asking why the patient parameters, why the liver enzymes were high, why albumin was low. They gave these parameters and were asking why albumin is low. There was a case that they gave, and we're saying why albumin is low in this patient, why the liver enzymes were high. They were specific. Why this is this, why this is this. Just the functions of the kidney. Please. So understand this. Why are you saying pH regulation is a tubular function?
Sir, please, it's because in the proximal convoluted tubules, there is production of bicarbonate ions, and these bicarbonate ions are supposed to neutralize the H plus ions in order to prevent metabolic acidosis. So, because bicarbonate ions are produced in the proximal convoluted tubule, that's why the regulation of pH is a tubular function.
Good, Andrew. Good. That is fantastic answer. So please, that is that. The proximal convoluted tubule would secrete bicarbonate ions, and this will neutralize the H plus and now be produced by the system. So because it's producing from the bicarbonate ion is producing from the proximal convoluted tubule, we say is what? It's a tubular function. What again? What again about the tubular function? What again about the tubular function? What again about the tubular function? Can you hear me? Emifa, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
So you can hear me, but I'm not hearing anything from anybody.
Safety, the regulation of blood pressure.
So BP regulation, we could say, is because there's a secretion of fluid, there's a secretion of sodium. We can say in partly as what? As a tubular function. I'm using the word partly as a tubular function because we have renin also there. Renin also there. So regulation of fluid and sodium. When you are regulating these two parameters, you can also regulate what? Regulate the BP. When you have fluid buildup, when you have high sodium, your BP could be elevated. So we say that this is a tubular function. This is a tubular function. So the next is endocrine. What are some of the endocrine? If you are asked to say list 3 or 4 endocrine functions, what are some of the endocrine functions? You have listed all the functions of what? Of the kidney. But if I come back and ask you, what are the endocrine functions? Give me 3 endocrine functions or 4 endocrine functions of the kidney. You should be able to tell me what are some of the endocrine functions of the kidney. Who can help me? What are some of the endocrine functions of the kidney? I like asking questions. Why? Because you have oral portion, and that oral you should know how to answer questions. So in my class, I would worry you a bit in asking you questions. I want you to come out and tell me A, B, C, D, then I know. What are some of the endocrine functions? Who will start?
Production of erythropoietin.
So secretion or production of erythropoietin. So EPO. So the kidney would secrete or release or secretes EPO. Secretion of what? EPO. Secretion of EPO. And why is it endocrine? So the first question is that why is it called endocrine function? Why is it called endocrine function? Why is it called? I said that it's called tubular function because the work is done by the tubules. Why? The first thing that you should ask yourself is that why is it called what? Endocrine. Why is it called endocrine function? Why is it called endocrine function? Somebody should help. This is simple.
Because these functions are hormone related, they become hormone related.
Sylvia, you said what?
These functions are hormone related.
Hormone. These functions are what?
Hormone related.
No. Why is it called endocrine? Why is it called tubular? Why is it called endocrine? Who can help me? So you should ask yourself this. I am stressing on this area because that is you should know these bases, such that if a kidney patient comes, you should know that there will be electrolyte imbalance. How do you help the patient? There will be fluid imbalance, build up of fluid in a system. pH, it does regulate the pH. So if there's a problem about the kidney, pH will be affected because the bicarbonate will not be produced, and therefore it will lead to what? Acidosis, metabolic acidosis. How do you manage the acidosis? So these are the bases you should know. That's why I'm stressing here about the functions of what? The functions of the kidney. The functions of the kidney. Why is it called endocrine? Endocrine function. Why is it endocrine function? Hey, class, nobody can help me. Endocrine.
Because the organ is releasing hormones, but it's not through a duct.
Come again.
Because the organ is releasing hormones into the body, but it's not through a duct.
It's not through a duct. Abina, you wanted to say something?
Release urine into the bloodstream.
Why is it called serious? Why is it called endocrine? Why is it called endocrine? We are saying it's releasing hormone, not through the duct. Japoma.
Yes, doc.
Listen. It's endocrine. We term it as endocrine. Endocrine. Please note this. Note this. When you say endocrine function, it means that the organ will produce hormones, and these hormones will not work, will be working far from the organ that produces it. You get me? So the organ produces, say, will produce EPO, erythropoietin, and the erythropoietin will not work within the kidney. It will be working far from the kidney. That is the bones. So when you have this, we say it's endocrine. So endocrine means that an organ is producing an hormone, and that hormone will be working far from the organ that produces it. You get me? Class, is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, please.
That is why we have autocrine. Autocrine means what? Autocrine means what?
The hormones that will be produced by the organ will work within the organ.
Will work within that same organ. That is the autocrine function. So note this. Endocrine functions will be working far away from the organ that produces it. Autocrine function means that it's working within the same organ that produces it. So if you have chicken, or you have hen at home, and it lays eggs. After laying the eggs, if somebody picks it and use it, it becomes endocrine. But if the same animal.
Yes, sir.
So that is that. So let's talk about EPO, erythropoietin. EPO is released. Where is EPO released from? Endocrine functions. Where is EPO released? Where is EPO released? Within the kidney. These are all MCQ questions. Now we could set EPO is released. Erythropoietin is released by the kidneys. Which specific area? Which specific area? So EPO is released from the peritubular. So now find out where do we have the peritubular cells. Where do you find? So find out where do we find this. So this EPO is released from the peritubular cells. Then it will get into the blood. The blood will take it into where we have the bones. So it will stimulate the bones and it will release the red blood cells. So that is one function. Endocrine functions. So note that one function is to release erythropoietin. That's called EPO. And EPO will stimulate the bone to produce more red blood cells. So if you don't take care and you have more red blood cells being produced, it could lead to a condition called polycythemia. We'll talk about it. And if this EPO is not being produced as a result of renal impairment, could also lead to anemia. And you should know the type of anemia that the patient can have. The type of anemia that a patient can. Okay. What again about the endocrine function? What again?
Vitamin D production.
So vitamin D production. So because I'm not using the board, I will talk in details when along the line because I'm not having the board to explain the vitamin D. So vitamin D, I'll do that. I'll do that with you. Vitamin D production, I'll do that. So vitamin D is produced. One of the organs. We have two organs that's the production of vitamin D. We have the liver and we have what? The kidney. The liver and the kidney. That's the production of what? Of vitamin D. So this vitamin D, when we have intact liver and intact kidney, this vitamin D will be produced. This vitamin D will be produced. When we have intact liver and intact kidney, vitamin D will be produced. And this vitamin D is called, I will do it in details with you, don't worry. This vitamin D is called calcitriol or active vitamin D or calcitriol. So this it's produced and this will ensure that we have more calcium. It will aid in reabsorption of calcium from the GI. Therefore, be having more calcium. And when you're having more calcium, then the bone buildup will be okay. So that is endocrine. endocrine function. Any other endocrine function? Any other endocrine? Am I moving fast or slow?
So please, the pace is okay.
Come again.
The pace is okay.
Okay. So what again about the endocrine function? Endocrine function. Are you putting something down?
Release of renin.
Are you putting something down?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
Yes.
Okay, so the third endocrine function is the release of what? Renin. Release of renin. So if I ask you, where in the liver is renin released from? Where in the liver? So the EPO is released from the peritubular cells. Peritubular cells. Renin is released from where? Renin is released from where?
Juxtaglomerular cell.
The doctor glomerular apparatus.
So juxtaglomerular apparatus. And you should know which part of the juxtaglomerular apparatus will release the renin. There's an area specifically within the juxtaglomerular apparatus that are responsible for release of the renin. Which part is that?
So the macular.
So it's macula densa. So macula densa is within the juxtaglomerular apparatus, and they release what? The renin. So when they release the renin, then what will be the functions of the renin? What will be the function? The renin will do what? The renin will do what? Class, the renin will do what?
It will convert angiotensinogen produced in the liver to angiotensin 1.
So what is now the function of the 1, angiotensin 1? What is the function of the 1? What is the function of the 2? So the 1 will be converted to the 2, angiotensin 2. And what will be the function of the 2? What will be the function of the 2? So the renin would produce angiotensin 2 from the rat system, angiotensin 2. And these angiotensin 2 parts will have these vasoconstrictive activity, will constrict the vessels. And it means that they can also regulate the BP. And they would also cause retention of what? Of fluid, sodium and water. Can also affect the BP. So in BP regulation, you could have partly at endocrine function and partly at tubular function. Please, do you get me?
Yes, please.
Do you get me, class? So
Yes.
endocrine function could regulate renin release, which is an endocrine function of the kidney, can also affect the BP as a result of the angiotensin 2 release. So angiotensin 2 is a potent vasoconstrictor. So when it does constrict the vessels, can cause high BP. Angiotensin 2 can also stimulate the adrenal gland to produce aldosterone and co. So, and this aldosterone will cause water sodium retention. So it also affects the BP. So I'm saying that partly BP regulation is controlled. It's being done by endocrine, and it's also being done by what? Tubular. So if a question is asked, which function could be done, which parameter or which function of the kidney could be done by either the endocrine and also could be done by the tubular. So it's the regulation of what? BP. Autocrine functions. The last function is what? Autocrine. The last function is autocrine. What are autocrine functions? So autocrine functions are functions. Auto means self. So the organ will be producing either hormones or enzymes, produce the hormones, and these hormones will work within that same organ. When it happens like that, we term it as what? We term it as autocrine functions. Let me ask you one thing. What is paracrine? If you could have autocrine, you could have paracrine, and you could have endocrine. What is paracrine? If you are saying a function is paracrine, what does it mean?
Hormones acting.
So when it produces and it's working closer to the organ that produces it, then you term it as what? As paracrine. One is far, endocrine. When it's closer to the organ that produces it, we say it's paracrine. When it's working within the organ that produces it, we say it's autocrine. So what are some of the function, kidney function in terms of autocrine? What are some of the autocrine functions of the kidney? If I ask to state 2 autocrine functions of the kidney, 2 endocrine functions of the kidney, and 2 endocrine functions, you should know. So what are some? What are some of the autocrine functions of the kidney? Anybody?
Prostaglandins.
So prostaglandin synthesis. Prostaglandin synthesis. Prostaglandin synthesis. And what is the function of the prostaglandin? What is the function of the prostaglandins produced within the system? So these prostaglandins will be produced as 1 within the kidney and COX-2 within the kidney. You get me? Flats, you get me?
Yes, please.
So tell me, so these prostaglandins are produced within the kidney. What is this doing within the kidney? What are some of the functions of these prostaglandins within the kidney?
So the prostaglandins act on the afferent arterioles, causing dilatation of the afferent arterioles.
So it will dilate the vessels within the kidney. To dilate the vessels within the kidney. That would ensure a renal flow, renal blood flow. It ensures the renal blood flow. This is why it's dangerous to chronically be on NSAIDs. Any medication that could affect renal prostaglandin could also cause renal damage, because it's tend to, when it causes vasodilatation, it tends to reduce the pressure buildup within the vessels in the kidney. Take note of this. It tends to reduce the buildup. Of what? The buildup of prostaglandins. When you are reducing the buildup, it means that now vasodilatation will be reduced. There will be vasoconstriction within the kidney, vessels within the kidney, vasoconstriction, and therefore high BP will set up and cause destruction. Vessels will be destroyed within the kidneys, and that will lead to renal impairment. I'm taking it again. I'm saying that prostaglandins production is important. And it's important because it does cause vasodilatation. If it's causing vasodilatation, one, it's reducing the BP buildup within, high BP buildup within what? Within the kidneys. They also ensure renal flow. And therefore, any medication that tends to reduce the prostaglandins, production of prostaglandins within the kidney, can also damage the kidneys, meaning chronic use of NSAIDs is not good. And this chronic use of NSAID can damage the kidneys as a result of inhibiting the synthesis of prostaglandins build up within the kidney, autocrine functions, and therefore high BP could set up and cause destruction to the vessels within the kidneys. That will lead to renal impairment. Please, is it clear?
Yes, please.
Any question up to this point? Any question up to this point? So note this. Prostaglandins. Other functions of prostaglandins. Renal prostaglandins. Other function is that it also ensures sodium excretion. Because it will allow renal blood flow, so it will ensure excretion. Another thing is that it will also inhibit ADH. So renal prostaglandins, they have natriuretic effects. They have natriuretic renal effect. Also inhibit ADH, such that there will be that renal blood flow to cause these excretion. Take note of this. Autocrine effect. Autocrine effect. I don't know. Have you learned about heart failure? Have you done heart failure? Class, have you learned about heart failure in your school? Did you learn about heart failure?
Yes, please.
So if I say atranatritic peptide, you know what is it? Atranatritic peptide, you know. You know. Brain natritic peptide, you know. Hillary, you know. Madam Clinton, you know.
Yes, please. We have an idea.
What is ID? You know. Don't tell me you have an idea. Tell me, what is atranatritic peptide, ANP? I just want to link it to what happens in the kidney. Atranatritic peptide. What is it? Who can tell me, class?
So please, it helps in sodium and water regulation.
So where does it produce from? Atranatritic peptide.
So we have some from the heart and some from the brain.
Mm-hmm.
The atrial is produced by the atrial, the artery.
The atria is produced from where?
From the arteries.
Atria is produced from where? The arteries. So which part of the arteries? Atrial is produced from where? Somewhere. Arteries. Somewhere. Samuel, are you there?
Yeah.
Atrial is produced from atrial natriuretic peptide is produced from where?
Atrial natriuretic peptide is produced from the arteries.
From the arteries.
Yes, sir.
That is why Hillary said that you have an idea. Hillary is produced from where?
Please, from the atrium.
From the atrium. Oh, so if this is an MCQ question, I could have gotten you guys. Who can tell me? Atranatritic peptide is produced not from, it's produced from the walls of the atria. Atrial wall. We have the atrial and we have the ventricles. Atrial wall. I'm now being specific. Atrial wall. When there's a stretch during heart failure, these atrial natriuretic peptide will be released. Ventricular wall also will be produced brain natriuretic peptide. So the same, so if you know the functions of this, the functions of this, the same thing happens within the kidneys. The kidneys produce renal natriuretic peptide. Renal natriuretic peptides. The kidney produce what we call renal natriuretic peptides. And this renal natriuretic peptide is 3 times powerful that what the heart produces. The heart produces either intranatriuretic peptides or brain natriuretic peptides. But the kidney produces renal natriuretic peptides. And these is, I'm saying, is 3 times powerful than what is produced by the heart. And the function is to cause excretion of sodium and fluid. So in renal impairment, there will be a buildup of this sodium and water. So the kidney will produce, this is an autocrine function, to ensure that the kidney excretes what? Excretes the sodium and water. So the kidney produces renal natriuretic peptide. Please, is it clear?
Yes.
The last autocrine thing I want to talk about is endothelin. Endothelin, the kidney produces this endothelin. Endothelin are produced from the endothelium of the vessels within. So they are produced from the vessels. And the function of this is opposite to the function of NO. What is NO, class? What is
Yes.
Nitric oxide.
what?
Nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide. What is the function of the nitric oxide?
It's a cause of vasodilation.
Vasodilation. So endothelin, that's the opposite. Endothelin also causes check up each other. You need prostaglandins, you need endothelin, such that at times you need the endothelin to also raise the pressure within the kidney. That will also help in the filtration. So we need this. At times we need the prostaglandins. So it works hand in hand. But when you prolong the endothelin, then it can also cause high BP to damage the kidney, because endothelin, that's cause vasoconstriction. Endothelin will cause vasoconstriction. And this vasoconstriction, when you prolong, will set up high BP, and that could damage the vessels within the kidneys. So the last function that I want to talk about, that you said it, one of you said it, is that that's metabolism of some of the medication. Somebody said what? Somebody said it's insulin. So protein and polypeptide metabolism. Kidney does protein or polypeptide metabolism. Polypeptide metabolism. Certain polypeptides, certain proteins are metabolized by the kidney. And you should know this. Medication like insulin, they are metabolized by the kidneys, and therefore, if a renal patient comes, you should have this at the back of your mind that I'm not going to give the normal dose. If I'm giving it, to be careful, because there could be a buildup of what? There could be a build-up of insulin, and that could also cause hypoglycemia. So you You should be mindful. When you are giving insulin to a renal patient, you should be mindful of the dose. Another thing is that metabolism of PTH. You know PTH. Do you know PTH?
The
Yes, please.
parathyroid hormone.
What is the function of that hormone? What is the function of these hormones?
So say please, the calcium levels are low, and its main function is to stimulate osteoclast activity to cause breakdown of the bone, so that calcium can move into circulation to increase calcium levels.
Andrew, I can't hear you.
Say please, it's a hormone that is. Yes, sir. Say please, it's a hormone that is released when there are low calcium levels in the blood.
So it does regulate what? Calcium levels. It does regulate. And this PTH is metabolized by what? By the liver. What will be the effect? Because if it's metabolized by the kidney, PTH is metabolized by the kidney. If there's renal impairment, there will be a buildup. What will be some of the effect of buildup of this PTH? What will be some of the effect of buildup of this? We say that for insulins, there could be could lead to hypoglycemia. For PTH, what could be? Wilson, can you help me?
So it can result in hypercalcemia.
Wilson, I can't hear you.
Say please, hypercalcemia.
It can cause what?
Hypercalcemia.
Why hypercalcemia?
Say because it causes increased osteoclast activity to cause the breakdown of bone. So calcium can move into systemic circulation to increase calcium levels. So when there are increased levels of the parathyroid hormone, or when there's hyperparathyroidism, there will be increased calcium levels. So hypercalcemia.
So when you have PTH, good, you are right. When you have PTH, the levels of calcium will be increased. The levels of calcium, so it will have effect on calcium. What again?
Hello, doctor.
Hello.
Yes, so please, I didn't understand. Can you please take it again from the onset? Did you say it synthesizes PTH? My line dropped, please.
What did I say about? What did I say about the PTH?
Yes, please. I didn't get you clearly.
I'm asking the class.
You said it
What did I say?
metabolizes PTH.
So I'm saying that the kidney, that's the metabolism. Some protein and polypeptides. That's metabolism of this. I'm giving examples. So we have insulins, which are metabolized by what? By the kidney. So when you have renal impairment, there will be a buildup of these insulins. And that could lead to hypoglycemia. I'm also saying that there's PTH is also metabolized by the kidneys. So when there's a buildup, when there's renal impairment, there'll be a buildup of what? PTH. And what I was asking you, the PTH regulates calcium levels. So when you have low calcium levels in the system, then PTH levels will be elevated. So we have elevation of PTH. Why? In kidney patients, because of reduction of vitamin D in the system. In renal impairment, there's reduction of vitamin D. And this vitamin D reduction will cause the calcium to be low in the system. This would also cause the PTH to be released in the system. And I'm saying that the PTH is metabolized by what? By the kidneys. And in kidney impairment, there will be elevation of what? This PTH. And I was asking about the effect of this PTH. Class, is it clear?
Yes,
Yes.
Benedicta, is it clear?
yes, please, it is. Yes, sir.
Calcitonin also metabolized. So note these simple and basic things. Calcitonin and also. I was asking you about the effect of when you have high PTH. High PTH, I will do this more when I get into vitamin D. I will do this. High PTH can also lead to what? Who can tell me? Apart from
Brittle bones.
come again.
Brittle bones, so they are prone to fractures.
Apart from the bone, what again about the PTH?
So it can also result in bone marrow suppression.
Come again.
So it can also result in bone marrow suppression.
So leave the bone. Leave the bone side. Again, what again would PTH? I'm talking about the effect of PTH apart from the bone. So PTH. Somebody wanted. There's a
Hypophosphatemia.
Hypophosphatemia.
Yes, sir.
So PTH, listen, PTH buildup can also cause what you call pruritus. Pruritus. PTH buildup in the system can also cause pruritus. So renal patients could develop pruritus, and that could come from PTH. Pruritus from renal patient, we'll be talking about that. It's could come from different sources, different sources. But note this, pruritus could be due to what? The PTH. Pruritus, when I get that, we talk about that. Calcitonin. You know where calcitonin is produced from. Calcitonin is also metabolized by the kidneys, and there will be a buildup. So note these things: insulin, PTH, and calcitonin. There will be a buildup when you have what? Right? Kidney impairment. So these are some of the functions of the kidney. Please note the functions of the kidney. You should note them. Any question?
Sir. So please, you gave us three. We grouped the functions into three, and then when we finish, you added the metabolism of insulin and the PTH. Where would those ones fall under when we are considering the three, please?
That is where I said after. I did it after mentioning these.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
So I mentioned the three. Then after I said that it does metabolism of. So I can't say it's an autocrine function because it's not producing. It's not producing a PTH. You get me?
Yes, sir.
That is why after doing all this, saying endocrine, saying autocrine, saying tubular, then I came to this metabolism of proteins and polypeptides. Is it clear, Benedict?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. Shall I move on?
Sir, please, I was a bit confused with the PTH function. My network was unstable at that point.
So, what is your question?
I didn't hear your explanation when you were talking about PTH.
So tell me where you heard me, then I'll continue.
Okay, so I heard you talk about the fact that regular calcium level and that in renal impairments there'll be buildup of PTH. That's what I heard. But as to how it goes about the regulation of the calcium levels and also you talking about calcitonin, I didn't hear other aspects.
I said the last function I was talking about is that there's metabolism of proteins and polypeptides done by the kidneys. Metabolism of proteins and polypeptides done by the kidneys. And I was mentioning these proteins, these polypeptides. I'm saying that insulins, PTH, and calcitonin, they are metabolized by what? By the kidneys. And so in renal impairment, there will be a buildup of these. So when you have PTH, the PTH is supposed to regulate calcium levels. So when you have low calcium in the system, PTH will be produced such that it will bring up what? The calcium up in the system. Please, you get me?
Yes, sir.
Good. So this same PTH is metabolized by the kidneys. And therefore, in renal impairment, PTH levels will be high because it's supposed to be metabolized. And more PTH will be produced because in renal impairment, there will be low vitamin D. And this low vitamin D will lead to low calcium. So more PTH will be produced. And this PTH is supposed to be what? To be metabolized by the kidney. And because we have renal impairment, there will be a buildup of this. And I was asking you about the effect of the high PTH in the system. Some were talking about, you're all right, about the bone. It has effects, and that effect, specific effect is osteosclerosis. I will talk about it later. Osteosclerosis. High PTH effect on the bone will lead to osteosclerosis. Bilson was talking about the fact that it would cause elevation of phosphate. Bilson, you said that. And I was saying you should leave that side. I had wanted you to tell me more about the other side. of PTH. And I was telling the other side of PTH is it will cause one of the agents that causes pruritus in renal impairment. Pruritus. So in simple terms, I'm trying to say that these PTH, calcitonin and insulins are metabolized by what? By the kidneys. These are agents metabolized. So if you are giving insulin to a renal patient, then you think about the dose. Is it clear, Abina?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so from the outline, I said that I'll move on to what? Hilary, I said I'll move on to what?
Please, you said the causes of renal impairment.
So let's talk about the causes. Please, is it clear? I want to know. Look, the things that you are supposed to learn, you have so much. I pity for you guys. You have so much to learn. I wish that what I'm teaching you, you will understand. This is my wish, such that you won't chew so much. But so much. You have about more than 50 topics to learn. It's more than that. Is that not so? And questions can come from anywhere. So please get the understanding such that when you understand and even you don't go back to read, because you understand, you can apply. Please, you get me? So if you don't understand, let me know. Don't let me finish the whole thing, then you come back and tell me. I wish that when I get to a point and you don't understand, you prompt me early. Prompt me early, then I do the explanation. So let's talk about what are some of the causes in general, causes of renal impairment. What are some of the causes of renal impairment? What are some? If exams comes and you're asked to list 4, 5 causes of renal impairment, what could? What are some?
Hypertension.
Hmm?
Hypertension.
So hypertension. So if I ask you, how will hypertension? Oh, who said hypertension? Who said hypertension? Oh, who said hypertension?
Sir, please, for the hypertension, the increased blood pressure can cause damage to renal vessels.
So, 1, damage to renal vessels could to rupture them. So the renal vessels could be damaged. What again? High BP. And this, Wilson, tell me again how hypertension could cause renal damage apart from damaging the vessels.
Sir, please, hypertension is characterized by vasoconstriction, and the vasoconstriction can reduce renal blood flow, which will result in ischemia, and that ischemia can impair renal function.
So it could be ischemia. And those, and again, there could be ischemia coming from what? The hypertension. And hypertension can cause ischemia in two forms. Tell me. Hypertension can cause ischemia in renal patients in two forms. We talked about vasoconstriction. The constriction will reduce perfusion, and this will lead to ischemia. So there could be a renal ischemia.
Yes, sir. So the first way is by the vasoconstriction, and then the other way is to uncontrolled hypertension, which ends up affecting the endothelial lining of the blood vessels. So when the endothelial lining of the blood vessels is affected, it results in endothelial dysfunction, and that could result in plaque formation. The plaque has the ability to occlude the vessel, and as a result of occlusion, it can limit blood flow to the kidneys, which can impair the function.
Good. Listen, well done. So hypertension can damage the vessels. One, hypertension can damage the vessels. Two, hypertension can cause perfusion, low perfusion to the kidneys, low perfusion. And this will lead to ischemia. And the ischemia, I intentionally said this, could be in two forms. The ischemia could be in two forms. One, the constriction will reduce amount of blood. And that will lead to low perfusion. The two, the hypertension could also damage the endothelium. So the vessels within the kidneys could be damaged. If there's a morbid hypertension, when I say morbid, high BP, and this high BP could damage the endothelium. So when this is damaged, it is going to trigger the formation of plaque within the vessels, and that could damage it. That could block the vessels and also cause ischemia. Plaque formation could occur when the endothelium of any of the vessels are damaged, and the damage could be high BP. The damage could also be the deposition of maybe fat. We call it fatty streaks. When you have fatty streaks within the endothelium, this can damage the endothelium. High BP can also damage the endothelium. So the moment there's a damage to the endothelium, then there could be what? Plaque forming. And this plaque form could also occlude the vessels. That could also obstruct the renal blood flow, leading to ischemia. Please, is it clear? Is it clear?
Sir,
Yes, please.
please, can you take it again?
Hey, brother. I say this is something I don't like. You want me to talk and tell me, hey, Dawson, do that for me. When I'm explaining something, don't let me say it at length, then you come back and say, as if the whole thing, you don't understand the whole thing. Dawson,
Yes, sir.
you understood, you said it well. Tell them for me.
Okay, so with hypertension, there are two main ways in which it can result in renal.
Abina, are you listening to my professor?
Yes, I wasn't the one who asked the question.
Come again. No, Abina, she's also poor. Abina.
Yes, please.
I'm now listening to Bilson.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Well, please, so with hypertension, there are two main ways in which it can result in renal impairment. The first way is as a result of vasoconstriction, and vasoconstriction will then cause reduced blood flow to the kidneys, and that will result in the impairment as a result of ischemia. And then the second way is that as a result of uncontrolled hypertension, there could be endothelial dysfunction because uncontrolled hypertension affects the endothelium of the blood vessels, and that could result in endothelial dysfunction. And when endothelial dysfunction occurs, it results in a plaque formation, and this plaque has the ability to have inflammatory mediators moving to that area, deposition of collagen, and that can occlude the blood vessels. And once there's an occlusion of the blood vessels, it means there's going to be it's going to impede blood flow, and that's going to result in a decreased renal blood flow to the kidneys, which is then going to result in renal impairment.
Audrey,
Yes, please.
have you learned about coronary artery disease?
Please, not yet.
Not yet. Not from here, from school.
Please, I'm not. No, I haven't.
You wanted to say something and you came back to say I haven't.
No, I from the hospital, no, but from school, yes.
Which school?
Please, Kia University.
Here University.
Yes.
So you understood what Bilson was saying.
Yes, please, I did.
You did. So can you repeat what Bilson said?
Yes, please.
Repeat.
Okay. Okay, so ischemia can cause ischemia can cause can cause renal impairment in two ways. So
We are not
from
talking about ischemia. We are talking about what?
sorry, hypertension can cause ischemia in two ways. I'm so sorry. Hypertension can cause ischemia in two ways. So first of all, it can lead to vasoconstriction, which reduces renal blood flow and perfusion to the kidneys, that's causing ischemia. And then uncontrolled hypertension can cause damage to the endothelial wall, which can lead to the formation of plaque, which will cause release of inflammatory mediators and cause occlusion, which will eventually lead to obstruction and
Abena,
yes, sir.
when all that I want you to know is that the damage would initiate atherogenesis, the plaque forming. So
Yes, please.
it's not inflammatory mediators. I don't want that.
Yes, please.
So there's a damage, and that damage will lead to what? Plaque forming. And that plaque forming could occlude. There could be a partial occlusion, and there could be total occlusion. And all these could lead to what? All this could lead to ischemic condition. And that could cause necrosis, damage the kidney. I could have just say hypertension, then we go away. But I want you to know how hypertension could damage the kidneys. Any other cause? Any other cause? Any other cause of kidney damage apart from hypertension? Any other cause of kidney damage? Now, if you're okay with only hypertension, then we move on.
So please,
Come again.
toxic drugs.
So medications, nephrotoxic or nephrotoxins. So medications. Some of the medication can also affect, and we talk about what? We talk about NSAIDs. We talk about ACEs, which any other aminoglycosides. These medication can also affect the kidneys. So we talk about medications. What again? Medications. What again?
Herbal preparation.
So which herbal preparation? Be careful about this. When you talk about herbal preparation, one
Maybe
time
unlicensed.
unlicensed, so unlicensed herbal preparations could affect it. And these are under what? Nephrotoxin. So be careful. Don't just generalize it and say that it's herbal preparation. If it's licensed, then it has gone through checks. So this will be under nephrotoxin. What again about the causes? Talked about nephrotoxins. Talked about hypertension. What again?
Diabetes.
Diabetes. Good. So disease conditions such as what? Diabetes. Autoimmune disease conditions. Autoimmune disease condition could also cause damage to the kidneys. And that could also lead to what we call nephrotic syndrome. So diabetes, infections, autoimmune condition, these are disease conditions. Could also cause kidney. What again? What again? Please, do you get it? Please, is it clear?
Yes, please.
What again?
Liver cirrhosis.
Liver cirrhosis. Then you talk about,
Okay, so with liver cirrhosis, usually there's the reduced synthetic function of the liver, so there's reduction in production of albumin. So once albumin production is decreased, it means that the oncotic pressure is also decreased, which means that there's reduction in blood volume. In addition to this, in liver cirrhosis, we can have increased platelet blood flow. So that can lead to variceal bleeding in the GIT. So all this is leading to reduction in the blood volume, which will reduce the amount of blood that will eventually end up in renal circulation or end up to the kidneys. So then you can have renal impairments from liver cirrhosis.
Then you also say heart failure. If somebody say heart failure, will you agree to it? Atta, if somebody is saying heart failure, will you also?
Yes, I think yes, with heart failure with reduced ejection fraction.
I am not saying whether reduced ejection fraction. I'm saying heart failure. Don't,
Yes.
you know what? Don't commit. Hey, when you are answering questions, be careful. You know what? If it's oral exams and you are saying heart failure with reduced ejection, I'll be happy. Within me, I will say, oh, the guy knows. Then I'll be pushing you along that line. Do you get me?
Yes.
So if you don't have your facts well about that, don't go there. I just said, so heart failure. And you are saying, yes, heart failure with ejection, reduced ejection fraction, I'll be happy. Because I know that hey, the guy knows this. So let me push the guy there. There was a lady that said, I was asking that lady, which disease condition shall I ask you a question? The lady said, sickle cell. And I said, why sickle cell? And he said that her friend, her best friend, is having that condition. So I thought that because of that, she knows the sickle cell. When I started asking questions about sickle cell, then she started crying. At the interview room, I was so down because I thought that saying this to me, you know. So please, in answering questions, that is why I'm asking too much questions when I'm teaching, because of the oral, such that you will know. You stay in your lane. I was just asking you, then heart failure. Well, heart failure, then if you tell me, yes, heart failure will reduce ejection fraction, or heart failure could cause. What you are saying, Nata, what you are saying will be indirect. When a patient comes with heart failure, when a patient comes with liver disease leading to ascites, there will be low perfusion. And that can cause a special acute kidney injury because there's reduction of perfusion to the kidneys. It could lead to acute kidney injury. And the type of acute kidney injury could be what? Could be pre-renal because of the reduction. So yes, this is from the long way, patient getting the liver, then long-standing liver condition could lead to what? Could lead to, at the end of the day, could affect the kidney. Long-term effect or heart disease could also affect what? Could also affect the kidneys. I want direct things, common things that could affect the kidneys. Do you get me, Atta?
Yes.
So please be careful. Anytime you are answering questions, any lane that you want to step in, make sure you understand that lane, such that if a question is being asked, you'll be comfortable. I mean, when I am asking you, and then you say these things, I become happy. The reason I'm happy is that you are saying something that I say the guy knows. So let me try the guy. So you should be careful in the way you answer questions. Will heart failure cause kidney injury? You said yes, because heart failure will reduce perfusion to the kidneys. 25% of the cardiac output will get into where? Get into the kidneys. It means that in heart failure, there will be reduction of the percentage of cardiac output getting into the kidneys. And this will cause renal what? Reduce renal perfusion, and it will lead to acute kidney injury. So please, I'm begging, be careful about. Stay in the question when you are answering. Don't divert too much. When you are diverting, then make sure you know the area that you are stepping in. Please, class, you get me.
Yes.
Okay, any other causes of what?
Said dehydration.
Dehydration, good. We are talking about low perfusion. Low perfusion, and nothing is clicking. Dehydration. So dehydration can also cause what? Can also cause damage to the kidneys. Dehydration can also cause damage to the kidneys. Dehydration. What again?
Smoking.
Smoking. So how will smoking affect the kidneys? So if you don't know, don't talk about it, because if you are smoking, you say alcohol, then I'll be asking, so tell me how alcohol would affect it, how smoking would affect it. Please, do you get me? Do you get me?
Yes, please.
Class, be careful. We are learning, we are preparing ourselves for. And don't think we have time. We don't have time. Be careful about if you are asked a question, stay in the question. Don't dive. If you tell me smoking, I'll be happy. I'll be asking you. The follow-up questions will come. If you are telling me alcohol, so alcohol, how would smoking affect the kidney? Hmm? So you talked about hypertension, you talked about nephrotoxin, you talked about certain food. So what are some of the food that could affect it? Think about that. Which food? Such that when I'm talking to a renal patient, I will not. I will be saying, please don't take more this, don't take this, don't take this.
So these foods that are high in sodium.
So food that contains high sodium is not good. Food that contains too much fat is not good. Too much fat. You'll be asking why. Who can explain to me too much fat is not good? You'll be asking why. Atta, can you explain to me why it's not advisable to take food containing fats, too much fat?
Yeah, hello, Doc. So with fat, I think if the levels of fats are increased, you can have fatty streaks forming in your blood vessels. Eventually, these can build up and become fibrotic through collagen deposition and even occlude your blood vessels. If probably it's the coronary vessels, then you get a CAD. So that's why I think high fat consumption would not be beneficial.
So fat consumption would raise the BP. As a result of, it could reduce the lumen. As a result of fat deposition can destroy the endothelium, and that would initiate atherosclerosis or initiate plaque formation, can also obstruct the flow. So note this. Let's now move on to the renal condition. Renal condition. Renal condition. For the renal condition, you could have this. For the renal condition, you could have this. You could have chronic, and you could have acute. In general, the renal conditions, but when you want to go into specifics, then you tackle. Now let's see the Bowman capsules, what are some of the conditions that could affect the Bowman capsules? And we're talking about nephrotic syndrome. I'll come back and do nephrotic syndrome with you. But now I'm talking about the general. We could have acute kidney injury or disease, and you could have chronic kidney disease. Chronic kidney disease. Please, you get me? You get me, class? So in the outline, I said that the causes, then we come back to the disease condition. The disease condition. Under the disease condition, we have the chronic, we have the acute. So let's tackle, what should I do? Should I do the chronic? Should I do the acute? Let's tackle the chronic kidney disease. Chronic kidney disease. So let's do the chronic kidney disease. So for chronicity, now we have acute. And when you talk about acute, it means that certain parameters should point to the acute. When we are talking about chronic, certain parameters should point to the chronicity. So we are now talking about chronic kidney disease. Chronic kidney disease. Now for chronic, what makes it chronic? We're talking about chronic kidney disease. What makes it chronic? Come again.
The duration of onset.
So the duration of the condition. So some of the parameters that makes it chronic, you could call this chronic kidney disease. One of the parameters that could point to chronic kidney disease is what? It's the duration of the disease. And if the duration of the disease is more than what? If the duration is what? Now somebody talked about, who talked about the duration?
It's number one.
So tell me, Gloria.
Doc, I think when it's from 3 months going.
So 3 months going. So when the patient comes to you with CKD, and he asks the patient, he said that from 3 months going, that it means that one parameter, you have gotten one parameter that points to what? The chronicity. So duration of the disease, which is 3 months and above. What again about? What again about the chronicity? What will point to the fact that this patient's renal impairment is chronic?
I think the EGFR.
What are the parameters? EGFR is just telling when there's a reduction, it's telling you there's renal impairment. And it could tell you the stage of renal impairment.
Sir, please, what are the structural changes?
Like changes to what?
Yeah. So last time you mentioned,
So maybe in relation to the size of the kidney.
It says structural changes. And I'm saying changes to what? Was it A? Changes to what?
To the size.
The other time you spoke about the corticomedulla something.
You are talking about changes, so it's important. We have talked about duration. The next thing is what?
When there's reduction in size of the
When
kidney.
there's reduction in the size of the kidney, reduction. So when there's reduction, so CKD patient will come with small size. So if I ask, tell me 4 parameters that will point to the chronicity of a patient, renal impairment. You talk about duration, you talked about what? The size of the kidney. That is why I told you should know the size of the kidney. What again? What again? Oh, Bilson, tell me one. What again?
Sir, please, the presence of anemia.
Anemia, good. Anemia. So we talked about the size, we talked about duration, and you talked about what? Anemia.
Yes, sir.
Then Benedicta, tell me the last one.
Urine output.
Jawasip. Tell me the last one. Tell me the last one. We're talking about differentiation.
Changes in parenchymal changes in the.
Wilson, tell us. Wilson, tell me the last one.
Sir, please, structural abnormalities.
Who can tell me the last one?
Look, the lab results.
Oh, Gloria. You are behaving like Benedicta.
Fluid retention.
Huh? I've given you a tip. Missy differentiation. So poor corticomedullary what? Differentiation. I've mentioned this. So the last one is poor. If I say poor corticomedullary differentiation, do you understand?
So please elaborate more on that.
Benedicta, you said it. I've touched on this before.
So you said Yes, sir.
I've touched on this differentiation before, the boundary. And the doctors will be talking about this.
So it will be lost.
Come again.
You said it will be lost. That boundary will be lost.
I'm saying whether it will be lost, whether it will be reduced in size, that boundary will reduce in size. They will say there's poor corticomedullary what? differentiation. When they say poor, it means that there has been changes. Please, do you get me?
Yes, sir.
There's that boundary that divides the cortex from the medulla. Dawson, do you get me?
Yes, sir.
I'm not having the board. There's that boundary that divide the cortex from the medulla, the cortical region from the medulla region. This boundary, when it's affected, assuming there's been, in terms of the line, there's been reduction in terms of the line, in terms of the boundary, it means that if the size is affected, it will also affect the boundary, which is the junction. So the moment there's reduction in the size of what? Of the kidney, it means the boundary will be affected. And when the boundary is affected, the term that they use is poor. When they say good, then the junction is okay. The boundary is okay. So when they say poor corticomedullary differentiation is the boundary defining the cortex from the medulla. When they say it's good, then please, then you see that now the boundary is intact, separating the two. When they say it's poor, then there's a defect affecting the cortex and the medulla. Please, do you get me? So there could be good differentiation, there will be bad differentiation, or poor differentiation. When they say poor, then it's affecting. When they say good, then it's okay. So at the word, they will be saying this. So we use the corticomedullary junction, we use the duration, we use the size, and we use the presence of anemia to say that this patient is having what? Is having CKD. Is having CKD. Please, you get me? Is it clear, class?
Yes.
Good. So I'm not going to talk about the causes of CKD. We have talked about general causes. What we talk about hypertension, the disease conditions, nephrotoxins, autoimmune condition, those things can. What I'm going to talk about is what are some of the clinical manifestations of a patient who comes with CKD. What are some of the clinical manifestations? So tell me some of the clinical manifestations. What are some of the clinical manifestations of a patient who comes with CKD? What do you see at the ward? You have been to the ward. What do you see? In class, are you there?
There's edema.
So edema. There's edema. So edema is there. What again?
Elevated blood pressure. Elevated blood pressure.
So BP, high BP. So edema, high BP. What again?
There's something urine output.
Come again. Come again.
Reduced urine output.
So the reduced urine output will lead to the edema. There could be a buildup as a result of reduced urine output. What again? What again? What do you see at the ward? Please hurry up, hurry up. What do you see at the ward? A renal patient. What do you see?
Nausea and vomiting.
There could be nausea and vomiting. Nausea and vomiting. What again?
The patients show signs of weakness, dizziness, signs of anemia.
So there could be anemia. Anemia. What again? Wilson, you went to internal medicine. What did you see? A renal patient. Wilson, what did you see? Renal patient.
You could also have the presence of anemia.
What?
Anemia.
Somebody has touched on anemia. What
Metabolic acidosis.
Metabolic acidosis. There could be metabolic acidosis. What again? So, hyperkalemia. Mm-hmm. What?
Hyperphosphatemia.
What?
Hyperphosphatemia.
Hyperphosphatemia. Please put these down. You'll be taking it one by one and go about it. Hyperphosphatemia. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uremia.
So uremia. 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 So there could be buildup of urea leading to uremia. So under the uremia, you could have what?
Uremic gastritis.
So you could have uremic gastritis, and you could have what?
Uremic encephalopathy.
You could have uremic encephalopathy. So what again?
So please, something you look malnourished. Where's my eyes?
Malnourished. It could happen. Malnourished, especially the children. What's again?
Proteinuria.
Come again.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Polyuria.
There could be polyuria. There could be polyuria. What again? If you are talking about
pruritus.
there could be pruritus. If you are talking about the volume, there could be polyuria. There could be what? Oliguria. And there could be anuria. So if you are talking about the volume of urine output, then it could be polyuria. Oliguria, there could be what? Anuria. What again?
Proteinuria.
So there could be proteinuria. There could be proteinuria depending on the kidney problem. There could be proteinuria. So these are some of the clinical manifestation of renal patient coming with what? Renal pain, especially CKD. These are some of the clinical manifestation. So I will close here. My brother, class. Let's go and sleep. What? Any question up to this point?
So please, can you talk about the albumin levels too?
Come again.
The clinical manifestations, can we talk about the albumin? Because when we're discussing, I heard us mention it.
I mentioned albumin.
We're talking about something.
Hey, something. What's something?
That was, I think he mentioned the liver.
When you are talking about liver, then you link it to albumin. But when you are talking about kidney, you don't link it to it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Somebody is Atta was explaining. I was asking about the causes, and Atta said that liver disease. He was right, but he was from afar talking about. He was saying low albumin, low oncotic pressure, and co leading to ascites, leading to low perfusion. That is where the albumin came in. So I also came in with heart failure. So these are all disease conditions. We could have cardiorenal. We could have a syndrome called cardiorenal syndrome. We could have another we call hepatorenal syndrome. So the liver causing renal impairment, cardio causing renal impairment. We have all this. But when you are talking about, please, when you are talking about kidney, we don't talk about albumin.
Yes, sir.
Unless we are talking about nephrotic syndrome. Unless you are talking about nephrotic, where there will be excretion of albumin, about 3.5 grams a day, and we're talking about that. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll be traveling, God willing, maybe Thursday. I'll be coming to Cape Coast and Attakorah. I don't know whether we'll get to Accra. So if you don't, I'll see whether weekends we can go. I want us to finish this early and tackle. I want you to be at par with the in person. So I will see whether I can get time to have this with you. Okay, so good night. I'll talk to your coordinator and see the times I can get to have the Zoom with you. Which times are good for you? But which days and times will be good for you?
I think the days are okay, but it has to do with the timing.
Come again.
I said the days will be okay, but the time. The problem has to do with the time.
So the time, you want midnight?
Oh no. The 6 is fine.
The 6 is fine.
For me.
Okay. Samuel Donko. Samuel Donko.
Yes, sir.
The time, are you in Kumasi or in Accra?
Sir, please, I'm in Accra.
The time? What's the problem in Accra about the time?
Sir, please, at our facility, we close at 4.
You close
So
at
I
4.
think if you can start yes, please. Well, if you can start around, let's say 6:30, 7, I think you'll be fine.
24 hour. Huh? Are you NDC man?
Please no. Sir, please no.
So I should start. Some saying 6. You are saying 7.
Sir, 6 will be okay. 6:30 will be okay.
Munkoda. Why? I'll see you. All the best.
You too. I enjoyed your class. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Let's